You know, it's autumn. It's the frog's pond, or however you want to call it. They just clean the place up a bit. So you don't really see the water, but it's really watery here. And it's funny how much I love to sometimes just walk around it, and that's just enough to get your head in the right place and your feelings opened again and get new clarity. Just walk around the small frog's pond in front of my house. Welcome to the frequency weather of the upcoming week. We're going to change it up a bit this week, I think. Yeah, really time for it. I feel that because I drew 3 cards in the group this morning of creative entrepreneurs, one of which was the key to creation itself. The solution central card of the manifestation cards for entrepreneurs that I draw from. And I drew the other one, which combines process and procedure, what I talked about in earlier weeks. So maybe you just watch a few videos back and you know that one. And because I drew the card hearing as well, so are we really hearing what is being said to us in this time, in our co-creation between the universe, our unique personal creative identity and our surroundings, that co-creation. Whether you co-create a work of art, a business or a daily life, doesn't really matter. And we're doing this every week to have some sort of an inspiration in that process for the upcoming week. So yeah, I drew these cards, 3 cards. It felt really bold, it felt really new, it felt really now. It felt really change things up. I was already feeling that as that goes. Usually I already feel it, and then the cards only give it in another way back to me so that I can talk about it. So I really feel like let's change things up, and because it's a really big draw, or how do you say that, big result. The key to creation and process and procedure, working together, time and the now, and hearing. I feel that, you know, we had this nature manifestation ritual that I performed last summer, right? I think I talked about it in this series of frequency weather videos. And it certainly was the moment last summer when we began having a bit of a break in the weekly series. Because I did the manifestation ritual in nature, and then I needed some time to process the results as well. And so I took a few weeks break. And in the group Creative Entrepreneurs, we had a lot of fuss about it, for sure, because it was really meant for that group. What I did was performing a sort of an energy ritual, using water and crystals and in nature and just really around the corner. Maybe we'll go there later today. Maybe we'll just do that. It would be nice, because we're changing things up, right? So we're not only going to film in the workshop space and living room that we're now, but doing something else as well. So I performed that ritual, right? And it was for that group, Creative Entrepreneurs. It was for you, for the viewers. It was for the people that apparently gather around my energy at this point. Whether it's a lot of people or not so much people, that doesn't really matter. And the ritual was meant, of course, to get some sort of attunement or fine-tuning of energies, to get to new creational spaces that we're creating all the time, of course, but especially during summer I always feel, and for the last years I always felt, that that was a great time space reality in which enormous amounts of inspiration come in, not only for me but in general, and you can be really open for the power of universal creative energy, whether you are sensitive for feeling it through the earth and other planets and the stars, or you are more a person that is feeling it through tuning into source creation energy and being in a way of being devotional to it, or you are a person that is more tuned into these kinds of things when you walk in nature, or whichever way. But you are so much more open for the inner light that always shines, and that the sun is just an outer example of that. And being so open for that during... So this is a bit where the nature starts, next to my neighborhood, next to my city quarter, because it's the outskirt of the city actually. You see, so this is it. City ends here, but the forest starts here. It doesn't really look like a forest. I so totally agree. And I come from a real forest on hills. It's on the other side of the river that we have here. That's where I was born. It's just very close in fact, but yeah, this is more like in between two rivers, this land, and it's very flat, soggy, and big skies we have here. Beautiful as well. Yes, so hearing everything and these messages and your inspiration and your wish that you put into the manifestation ritual of last summer in a new way. So that's really the key, I feel, for now. How do you hear it? Do you hear it in the way it is meant? Can you hear it in a completely different way? So the sounding together of all elements of your life can really get another sound to you if you listen to it in another way. And having put your wish or your intention last summer in the womb of the universe, by giving your intention in the manifestation ritual, whether you spoke it out loud or you just kept it to yourself, makes that at a certain moment you can listen to the sound of your current circumstances, your current life, in a different way that is more congruent with your wish and intent, your creation starting point that you made valuable at that point by speaking it out. So this is really the time where it gets into shape much more, because you listen in another way and you make other decisions based on that. And yeah, that's really what I feel for now, and I'm just very curious myself how that will play out. I already feel new decisions on a foundation that I'm running for the last 9 years, and all kinds of things are in the course of going to new decisions, or I just made them already in life and work, so I like it. I was just looking at my notes. But it's just it all comes down to that thing, right? That we hear things in another way, in the way that is key to creating what is truly ours, because sometimes we of course want to create fantasies. That's when we are still in a sort of a younger energy or in life, and which is very normal, and I mean it's just really okay, but you can distinguish that sort of thing, you know, when you're more in an adolescent kind of energy, then you sometimes are in a space where you want to create fantasies. But when you're more in a fine-tuned, in a core creation kind of way, which is a little bit more adult in a process kind of way, then yeah, now I lost my train of thought. But it all comes down to the same thing. Yeah, that's just what I feel. So let's go by it and have this imperfect message out there, in which I even lose the train of thought. And maybe that's also the whole point. Maybe we're just all going to lose our train of thought to step into a new train of thought or an already existing reality. Maybe that's even better, where trains of thought are not even really necessary because the reality is there, and you don't need to put your thoughts in a logic order by yourself. Making a lot of fuss about that. If you do that in the right way, in a perfect way, maybe that's just all not needed anymore when you finally let that new step of reality in that you have been preparing since last summer. So I really wish you all the best with allowing that in, and it's of course a movement that keeps on happening time and time again. It's not that we've just done it now this fall of 2017 and then it's done forever. Although I do feel and I do believe that the whole world and humanity as a whole, of course, goes through certain phases right now, and you can feel that and you can tap into that and you can see that around you. But at the same time, this is something that is an invitation for every moment again, and it will be an invitation every moment again, just like all these phases of energy that we can live as human beings, like for instance what I just said, the more adolescent energy. It's always in us, we are never without, but it's just a matter of what we put out in that moment as the primary or more dominant vibration, and what is more perhaps in the background or just wrapped into it in another way and transformed in that moment in a bigger whole. Yeah. So information is never lost, but it can be every moment again transformed into a more wholeness in which we accept the imperfect as a human expression. And that is all there is to be said about it. Which is funny. But yeah, it's like that. Yeah, we just keep it at this. I hope I can take you to the woods and we'll have a bit of fun. Have a very blessed week, and I will speak to you later. Bye bye. It's getting dark already. A bit rainy. And, this is the path leading up to that place where I did the nature ritual. The manifestation ritual of last summer of the Lion's Gate on August 8th, 2017.